It is now 7 o'clock. Welcome again, everyone, to the Eastpointe regular city council meeting at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, April 6, 2021. We will start with our prayer from Councilwoman Lucido, and we continue with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening, Ms. Lucido.
Dear God, we are grateful for the many blessings you have given us. We ask for your guidance as we go about the business of the people of Eastpointe. Help us not to do anything out of selfish ambition or vanity, but rather develop grace and humility to regard the needs and desires of the residents as being more important than our own. Let us all use the gifts and our talents to make our community a better place. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we get roll call, please? Good evening, Ms. Walton.
Good evening. Councilmember Curley.
Here, Eastpointe.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Here, Eastpointe.
Councilmember Lucido.
Here, Eastpointe.
Councilmember Moore. Councilmember Moore. I think you might be on mute.
I don't see it muted, but yeah, we're not hearing.
Not hearing her.
Try the speaker in the bottom left, Sylvia, like there's a where the mute button is, maybe the different speaker is selected. Guess it depends if you're on a computer or tablet.
Well, until that gets fixed, if you want to, she's here. So
Mayor Owens.
Here at Eastpointe, Michigan, so we can keep it rolling. She is present. She can come back in and say her location as she gets adjusted. Right now, we're going next to the approval of the agenda. I wanted to ask, why was the closed session ahead of everything else? Is it going to be short? Because I know a lot of people attending tonight might want to speak, and I don't know how long this is going to be. Going into closed session. Ms. Doom, good evening.
Yeah, yes, I can answer that. It was a request to have it at the beginning of the meeting because these are attorneys, and if we had them wait until the end of the meeting, it will become very expensive for us because they are not inexpensive.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for clarifying that for us.
You're welcome.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda if nothing needs to be added or subtracted?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
One item I'd like to propose. Oh, yep, we can hear you now, Sylvia.
Okay.
One item I'd like to propose that we add a closed session for attorney-client privilege communication to discuss written legal opinion from our city attorney related to the public-private partnership agreement with Concierge Management Services, LLC.
You want to add that at the end, sir?
Yes, that can for sure go after everything, just before adjournment.
I'll support that.
Okay. Motion and support. Any other changes? Seeing none, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next item is closed session with attorney-client privilege for Shock versus Eastpointe. And we are going to go into another, put everybody that's in this room out of the room. We ask you to stay if you want to continue to listen to the agenda or have anything to say for the hearing of the public, but we're going into a closed session right now with our attorneys. Ms. Walton, once you get everybody outside, let us know. We can begin the meeting.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Master speaking.
This is Otis Gasson. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Are you guys going to do a motion to go into closed meeting?
Oh, thank you. Yes, can we do a motion to go into closed session?
Sure, Madam Mayor, I'll motion we go into closed session for attorney-client privilege regarding Shack v. Eastpointe.
A second.
We have motion and second. Can you please call the roll?
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, we are now going to closed session. Thank you, Mr. Gatson.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
is everyone in?
I think she's
Yeah,
getting-
one more joining and then we'll be all set. We're good. Go for it.
All right, Madam Mayor, I will motion to proceed with the recommendation by our legal counsel.
I would support that motion, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir, ma'am. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes,
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
thank you. Now we are at the hearing of the public. We welcome everyone who stayed and came back to us. And you get 3 minutes before and after we get to speak at the beginning of the meeting and a little bit before we close the meeting to give us any opinions or any recommendations or ideas at this time. We ask you to be respectful because we have people of all ages listening in, and we want to be mindful of that. So now we open the first session of the hearing of the public. We ask you to state your name and residency.
Okay, can I talk?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rich Savaslack. I'm a
I'm sorry,
retired.
sir. Give me 1 second. Let me get this timer on here. I apologize.
Okay,
Okay, I'm ready.
okay. My name is Rich Savaslack. I'm a retired lieutenant from the city of Eastpointe. Harvey and Rich are probably both know me. The reason I'm here tonight is to talk about the retirees' health care. I sent you folks a letter or an email, I should say, but basically, when I hired in, I made a promise to the residents of the city of Eastpointe that I would be there for them. And I was for 24 years. Anytime they needed me, I was there. I missed birthday parties. I missed Christmas mornings, all sorts of things. Okay. In return, the city of Eastpointe promised me that I would have a pension and medical benefits, not for a week, not for 10 days, not for a year, but for a lifetime. I held up my end of the bargain, and I'm hoping the city of Eastpointe will do the same. And the reason I'm asking, especially today now, is at the present time, I'm battling stage 4 prostate cancer. It's already spread to the bones. So I have a 39% chance of making it 5 years. I'm currently doing some alternative medication right now that Blue Cross is providing me with. Runs $15,000 a month. And changing our prescription writers or changing even any of the benefits most likely could put that out of my reach. Raising the deductibles would also be a challenge because a simple PET scan is $6,000 for me. For Blue Cross, it's cheaper, but for me, it would be $6,000. I also have a special needs daughter who is 25 at this time. She's autistic and has seizures. She currently is on my insurance. And right now, she's just undergone 2 surgeries, which fortunately I did have insurance to cover. So you can see, here's a face to what you're going to be talking about.
30 seconds.
Okay, and I'm hoping that you would consider that when you make your decision. So again, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for your service as well.
Thank you.
Anyone
Ms.
else would
Mary
like
Hall
to speak at
Rayford
this time?
Sorry, Mayor. Miss Mary Hall Rayford would like to speak next.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a really enjoyable weekend, holiday, and everybody's staying safe. I'm happy to announce I am fully vaccinated and still double masking for those who don't want to wear one. But at any rate, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the fact that just listening to, I can't pronounce his last name, but I'll call him Rich, the need for council members to be extremely cognizant and aware of residents' needs. This is not a personal item or conversation. It's about all the residents. And until all residents' needs and concerns are addressed, we're going to slide down a very slippery slope, which eventually will cause us a lot of problems that I can't speak for everyone, but I know I don't want to see happen in Eastpointe. So I encourage you all, I challenge you all to be mindful of the residents' needs and to be willing to hear them, talk to them, to know exactly what's going on in their lives so you can make wise decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else, Ms. Walton?
I'm checking the chat now. I don't see any hands raised. No, I don't see anything else, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you to the two that spoke at the hearing of the public. The first hearing of the public is now closed. We're going to go to the approval of the agenda. And I know Mr. Gasson wasn't able to add this time. Is that right, Mr. Gasson? So do you think we want to add that to our next regular meeting to approve
Yes,
that?
they'll be ready for their next meeting.
Okay, thank you, sir. I know you had a lot to do on this one, so sometimes
Yes.
we miss that when we have a whole bunch of other steps to create. So we're gonna go to, we have no scheduled hearings. We're gonna go straight to unfinished business for the approval of city managers to sign purchase agreements and related sale documents for tax reverted property sales. And I believe I'm the one who actually put this back on here due to the fact that we had a couple of special meetings that were last minute due to the sale of certain properties. And I felt that if the city manager gives us the information, the offers, the breakdown, the purchase agreements prior to signing off for approval, then we don't have to have a special meetings. And these special meetings have, you know, sometimes all council can agree to it, some council can't come, and I think it helps because if we can't have a quorum, we can still do business as usual. But I want to hear what council has to say about that.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
So I kind of spoke about this during our last meeting. I think that if we ask for 48 hours and when the purchase agreements are given to us, that we should be able to at least get 3 of us together to have a special meeting. I know that we might not all be able to make it, but as long as we have 3, we'll have a quorum. And I think that just making sure that council agrees is probably the proper step to go, just to make sure everything is done properly.
Anybody else want to have anything to say? And then I think it saves money as well, and it keeps, sometimes a lot of people aren't aware of the special meetings, and I know a lot of our residents want to be a part of those meetings as well.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry.
thank you. You know, with the information that we would have prior, we would already know what the sale price is. We already know the detail of what the company spent on equipment and things to fix the house up. So And by the way, I don't remember, it's been a long time. Do we get paid for special meetings per diem or whatever? Do we get paid extra?
I think we do. That's what I was saying.
So,
That it would save money too.
you know, for what should be a 90-second meeting, we're gonna get paid for it. And we try like heck to get even 3 people in there. And if it's already been determined that the sale price has been accepted, I just like, I'm a little confused of why we 5 of us have to be there for the final decision
Madam
when
Mayor.
it could be done real quick. Whatever.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
My concern is even like the last purchase agreement that came to us, like we didn't have the breakdown of everything that was spent on the home. So I just feel like if we're having the meetings and we're making that final decision, then we can make sure that we have all of that information ahead of time. And that's going to guarantee that we do have that information if we are requesting a special meeting. And when it comes to getting paid for special meetings, we do get paid for some special meetings, but I think every year that I've been on council, we've maxed out the allotted amount of special meetings we're allowed to have anyway. So we have a lot that we don't get paid for.
Yep. There's a maximum. I agree with that, Sarah. There's a maximum.
Yeah, and I think I talked to the city attorney and was saying we don't have to rush once we get these as well, these signed purchase agreements, until we can wait till the next council meeting. Is that right, Mr. Albright?
That is correct, Madam Mayor. We certainly don't want to lose a buyer, but if the buyer is aware that their offer simply needs city council approval, it's very likely that the buyer would be willing to wait. But again, I guess that would depend on the particular buyer.
I know Ms. Doom had put some stuff together. What's your suggestion, Ms. Doom? What your opinion? It helps.
My
What do you think?
opinion, I could go one way or the other. As you know, for many, many years, I was a licensed residential appraiser. I do understand values. I do understand purchase agreements. I've bought and sold many homes myself. That is a council decision. I'm happy to take that kind of load off of the council for calling special meetings. As Mr. Curley mentioned, there is a cost to it. For each special meeting that we have, I do have to pay those who are joining us. My staff, I have to pay them overtime. So there's more than just the meeting cost. It's also cost for our employees. So it's really up to council. Typically, people would like an answer and they may often put it in within a day to 5 days. And they want a response back. The typical is about 3 days. It gives people a chance to think it over on both sides. So it's up to council if they'd like to, make that clear that a person would have to wait that long and risk potentially losing the sale because they're afraid you may say no, or if you'd like to certainly turn something over. Another option could be in the event that you could not get a quorum together for a special meeting, then that's a possibility that you may want me to take a look at the entire, proposal, the agreement and everything, and, carry on from there for you. But that's really your decision to make.
Okay, thank you. And we also have to pay Mr. Albright when he comes in.
Actually, Madam Mayor.
Or that's free.
Well, it comes out of the portion of the retainer that's a flat fee annually, Madam Mayor and Council. So there's no additional cost to the city as far as legal expenses are concerned for those special meetings.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
It's Harvey.
Yes, sir.
The idea about doing it during a council meeting, let's think about that. That's the maximum would be 13 days. If we have a council meeting tonight and tomorrow, somebody wants to buy a house and the price is good, the sale of the house would be approved contingent upon the city council, and that the most it would be 13 days that the council would take action. And we're there anyway, right? And the staff is there. So we wouldn't have to pay the staff if that's what we're worried about. We wouldn't have to pay the council if that's what we're worried about. And, I haven't bought a house since 1964, so I don't know how many days people wait when they say, oh, we love this house, Harvey, let's buy it. And with all the baloney paperwork that certain people have to fill out, 13 days is not really that bad.
Okay. So what do you suggest, Councilman?
Well, I kind of like the idea that it would come before the council at a regular council meeting. Sarah wants to say something.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
Monica wants to say something also. So 13 days to me, if I was purchasing a home, is a long time. I would probably look elsewhere, and I would probably be one of those buyers that would go somewhere else because, or there's a good chance that that buyer would find something else in that 13 days, and then we would lose that potential buyer. I agree, like trying to line them up with our special meeting, with our regular meetings would be ideal. So let's say we got an offer on Friday and our meeting's on Tuesday, I would definitely say, yeah, let's add it to the agenda, get it, done on Tuesday. But if it's 10 days away, I don't know if I would want to wait 13 days or 10 days.
Yeah. No, that was just a suggestion of not having to rush the council and having a special meeting. That was just the idea of,
Right.
we have to approve. They can't rush us and say, we need to know right now. We have to have a special meeting just because they rushing us. That's the whole thing came about with me and Mr. Albright. So, we were just.
Madam Mayor?
Yes,
For me?
ma'am.
Well, two things. One, with houses being in demand and it is a seller's market, I don't feel at this point that there would be a problem with a buyer waiting 13 days because houses are very, very hard to come by right now. And when they do get it, they would be willing to wait that because they are happy to have a house that they found. But on the second thing that I wanted to say, if we did approve that the city manager could do the approval with just emailing us and letting us know the purchase price and all of that above, we can also add a clause that we would have to know the cost breakdown with that approval. In order for her to actually do the approval, we would have to know that cost breakdown on how much it costs to renovate that house and how much the other contractors were getting before we allowed her to approve something. But that could be added in there as a clause.
Okay.
If we went with her approving it without having to have a special meeting, that would be one of the scenarios that would have to be added to that for me.
Okay, I think Councilman DeMonico has something to say.
Sure, thanks, Madam Mayor. I think, yeah, just real quick, I think I'm fine with, I guess I'm against specifically like exactly how this motion's written right now, but I think like a mixture of like special meetings if our meeting is too far away, but if it's in like the week before, just putting it on a normal agenda, I think, we just take each scenario like that and maybe we'll have a couple extra special meetings and then maybe some of them will be on regular meetings. But I did want to just clarify one thing for sure that's in the comments here for the background brief. It says the city has 3 days to accept or decline an offer to buy these homes. I don't believe that's like, like that's a requirement, right? Like, can we clarify? I mean, if we have expectations up front with these folks, I don't know what this 3-day thing is that it mentions in our council packet.
Ms. Dunn?
Yes, that is a typical turnaround time for most properties. You're right. It is not an absolute requirement. There are some buyers that give a seller 1 day and which to decide if they'd like to sell it because they need to move on and buy another home if this one's not available. Often sellers, you can have an agreement. Just as we were talking, I had a thought that if all of the information were available and we know that it is a price that is above what we have into the home, we would take no loss. An option might be to have an approval contingent upon final council approval at the next meeting. I think that would give a buyer some, feeling of safety that this home is going to be theirs, as long as they understand that the agreement is strictly contingent based on final approval by council. So that's an option for you also.
Can that be part of the the proposal as what we're putting together. Ms. Jones, if we was to make that motion to add
It could
that.
be, it could be that, as long as we understand that they have, and of course, I can certainly bring in Rich with this, have the discussion. But in the end, it would be council that would make the final decision. I think myself as a buyer would feel a lot more comfortable if I knew I had, my offer was accepted and I just simply had to wait for council to meet to finalize that. That might give someone comfort. I don't want to really put someone on the spot, but I'm going to right now. So Mariah, if you would join us. Mariah has been house hunting, and I'd like her to just share with you what her experience has been in her attempts to buy a home.
Sure. Things definitely move very quickly. Decisions are made pretty quickly. And you don't really wait. I actually made an offer on a community that was actually owned by the city actually owned the property and they were reselling it. And it wasn't something that I had to wait for. They did have kind of the same thing as Elke just spoke on, where they like tentatively accepted an offer and then later on went to council. But it wasn't something that, just because the market moves so fast, I wouldn't be willing as a buyer to wait the 13 days to see, just because so many houses come on the market in those 13 days. And if this isn't something that I'm gonna get and I hold off on it with a pending offer, I'm losing so much, so many houses and opportunities within that time frame. So even just 3 or 4 days, the market drastically changes, the housing market changes, what's available changes. So it definitely moves pretty quick.
Thank you. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I know you have been really spending a lot of time house hunting, and it's been pretty rough for you.
It absolutely has.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, the last special meeting that we had for this, we were all available. So I don't think it's really been an issue yet with not being able to get a quorum. So I think that if there was an issue where we weren't able to get a quorum to have these special meetings, then I would say, yes, maybe we need to reconsider and do something else or take another route. But it really doesn't seem to have been a problem.
I think it has been an issue. I think we just made adjustments. I don't know if that any other council members have had an issue with having to redo their schedule and to do these special meetings, other than myself. Or I don't know, it's just me, but I think it would have been it's best to have the city manager on hand to be able to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, Madam
If
Mayor.
something happened.
Yeah,
Yes,
Madam
sir.
Mayor, that's a special meeting that Sarah's talking about. And as I said before, should not last very long if we would stop, we meaning the whole company of council would stop adding things to the agenda. If we went in there with one item on the agenda, one single item and nothing added to it, we could do that meeting in 90 seconds. Literally, we could do it in 90 seconds because everything's already been approved and you've gotten the information about what to look at, how many 2x4s they use and how many nails, how many, whatever you want to take a look at, that would already be done. So this is just a question. Could we not promise ourselves, and I don't know how, I'm trying to think out of my head, that we would have to meet within a certain amount of days. I'm thinking this out loud now, guys. If you call me and say, Harvey, we got a special meeting to approve a house okay, I'm available next week. Well, what's wrong with the next day or the day after at the latest? Can't we do something like that? I don't know.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm done.
With the special meetings being called that within 3 days, I would probably have to ask my director if I could take off work. Because I have to schedule any vacation or anything that I do in advance than 3 days. I would have to get a more advanced notice, like a 2-week notice if I needed to take time off work. With the special meetings that come up and it's like a 3-day notice and if we having them at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that would be something that I can possibly lose my job for. if I have to start taking off work when I haven't put in for 2 weeks' notice.
Okay, well, we're gonna see how this motion goes. I'm gonna call the motion to request that the city manager to sign purchase agreements related to the sale documents for tax reverted property sales, and with the contingency put in there that at the next meeting is final approval with city council with these changes as far as making sure that we have the necessary documentation as far as the offers, the purchase agreement, the breakdown of the costs and profits prior to the city manager signing to approve the offer. And once she does that, and gives us all that information, and if it's not accurate to what we want, and we just we'll go to a special meeting if we don't have those documents. Otherwise, if we do have these documentation, to go ahead and sign off on it, and we make the final approval at a council meeting.
I second that, Mayor.
Motion and support, and call the roll, please.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
No.
Councilmember Lucido,
No.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Continue with that. Thank you, city manager, again. Hopefully this helps. Next item, approval to accept offer to purchase for 21738 Nevada. Happens to be at a regular meeting. So council, did you want to speak on this, or you want to continuously go forward with what we have in front of us with the information?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the offer to purchase 21738 Nevada in the amount of $130,000 and to authorize the city manager to execute all documents necessary for the sale of this property.
I second.
Motion and support, please.
Madam Mayor, just had one thing. I just wanted to confirm, we're just keeping things in escrow till we figure out things with our contractor, right? I just wanted to double check that. But we're going forward with the sale, right, is what this motion would be.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes. Thank you. We are now going to reports from administration, starting with our city manager, Ms. Doom. Good evening, Ms. Doom.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. I turned my sound off, so if I ruffle papers around, I'm not disturbing everyone. So I'd just like to share with everyone that since our last meeting, I had a meeting with our assessing firm that we contract with, Lisa Griffin and her husband, and we welcomed our new assessor. His name is Mitchell Elrod. He is he has the highest level in assessing, which means he is able to appraise residential, commercial, and industrial properties. So we're very pleased to have him on board. Many of us going into training, talking about, we try and learn as much as we can. Many of us sitting here tonight on council all joined in the citizen planner class, which was hosted by Michigan State University, and it gave us all a really better understanding of planning and planning commissions and zoning, and that is always extremely beneficial to us. So we've spent a lot of Thursdays together, and we're done now. So that's a real pleasure. Thursday's free now. I also want to share, I know we're also weary hearing about COVID. I mean, it's on the news constantly, but just kind of a community announcement. We really are starting to see an uptick in the number of people in Eastpointe that are testing positive. We've had over 200 more people test positive in the past week than had the week before. So we're still not out of this COVID phase. So just let people know, please do the best you can to prevent this, because it's escalating. Fortunately for us, and I follow the statistics on a weekly basis, we've not had any additional deaths within the community in the last 4 weeks. However, the number of cases is going quite a bit higher. So just something we have to all be aware of. And then the rest of my time since the last 2 weeks has been working with Randy, and we have a number of new directors. We had a kind of real slew of retirees, and we've got a lot of new people coming in. And so budgeting is a new thing for a lot of people. So we've been working with everyone and getting ready for the budget preparation. So in your packet tonight, you have a draft budget, and I'll speak on that just a little bit more later when we get to that point. And that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for our city manager? Okay, seeing none. Going to our finance director, Mr. Blum. Good evening.
Evening, Madam Mayor and Council. With the agenda's long enough, so I'm not going to add anything to it. But if you have questions, go ahead.
Okay, council. Seeing none, going to our city attorney, Mr. Albright. Good evening. And
Good
happy
evening.
birthday.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Good evening, everyone. Relatively a short report this evening based on the length of the agenda. As I reported last time, the state of Michigan has implemented new laws with regard to how certain misdemeanor cases are to be handled. That law went into effect last Thursday, and the police department did send over a warrant request to our office. We are still in the process of working out all the fine details, but so far it's been working out well, where the officers will provide a warrant request and email it to our office, and I will review it and either decline to authorize or authorize and then send it back to the police department. I will be providing the council with an overview of that system once we've fine-tuned it, but so far it's been working very well. The council is also in receipt of our monthly status report. I'm happy to answer any questions, and that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I want to ask you, well, let me let council ask first if they have any questions. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Albright?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
was wondering if Mr. Albright could just give a quick overview of the special meeting we had for the resolution that he proposed at our last meeting, so all the residents are aware, because I know like a lot of the residents weren't aware we were having that special meeting, just so they know why we chose to pass the resolution for the state of emergency.
Thank you, Council Member Lucido. I'd be happy to provide an overview. The City Council did meet last Wednesday and passed a resolution which allows the council as well as other bodies in the City of Eastpointe, including the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals, to continue to meet remotely. The executive orders that were put in place and also the statutes that allowed for meetings to be conducted remotely, all of that expired last week. And without the city council declaring a state of emergency, that the council and all of the other bodies would not be permitted pursuant to the Open Meetings Act to meet remotely. Based on the rising levels of COVID infections and the amount of deaths that have certainly been rising in the state of Michigan, the council believed that there was cause for declaring an emergency. And so the council and the other bodies pursuant to that resolution will be permitted to meet remotely at least through the end of this year as permitted by statute based on the declared state of emergency.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I wanted to know about the medical marijuana and how was that going? The reason I said that is because these people need to let go of some of these buildings so we can get some other businesses in there. And I think people are waiting to see what's going on. And that's why we have a lot of empty buildings. So when will we see something moving forward with that?
Yes, I know that Ms. Holman is also on this Zoom meeting. City administration has been going through the administrative procedures and preparing the various documents that will be available for members of the public to fill out and apply for licenses. City administration has identified some additional issues and concerns based on developments in state law. Ms. Holman has identified those issues and has provided me with an email last week detailing what those issues are. And I intend on bringing that before the council to further discuss that, to see if possibly additional changes to the city's existing Medical Marijuana Facilities Act would be appropriate under the circumstances. And like I said, I know Ms. Holman is available on this Zoom hearing in case the council members have any specific questions for her related to that. I know she's been working really hard on it.
Okay, I want to add to that, because I know in that documentation, as far as the policy and how we put that together, was those people who are going to invest in the medical marijuana to have had some type of part in our community. Now, saying that, I know that's put in there, but of course, you're gonna see all type of people doing stuff to get approved. So what I'm thinking, I don't know what council was thinking, can they have a plan that continues them? You know, as far as what they're showing, bringing their business here, a continued plan, and how they're going to continue to help and build the community if they were selected. Not before, everybody does stuff before they get something, and after you don't see them again. So, I mean, that's what I was thinking. I know we put that in place where we want to see them help in the community, and we've seen a lot of them do that. But then they get approved and everybody stop. I know a lot of different cities have something in writing that they want to see them putting something forth in the community, as far as, I don't know if it's our urban garden or giving back to our schools or something like that. I don't know if that's legal or how can that be written, but I mean, is that something that you've seen before?
I have not personally seen it, but Kim, if you are on, I can't see on my screen, but I believe that may be part of the renewal process. I think that's already in our ordinance. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that you've been in close review of that, just preparing all the various documents to put this into effect.
Yes, there are some of the local municipalities that are doing a scoring based on community involvement, including outreach to the surrounding, the neighborhood, everything from investment in a financial investment in education on the effects of medical marijuana and other uses of marijuana, things like that. And the scoring criteria, I think, would be a very good thing for the city. And yes, Mayor, it would be required there per state law. They would have to renew every year. So this would again be criteria that would be reviewed at that renewal on an annual basis.
Thank you, clarifying that. Thank you, Mr. Albright. Any other questions? We go right along. We can move right along to new business.
Thank you.
Item A, bid award. Thank you. Bid award 2021 through 2023, the concrete pavement repair. If you have any questions, I believe our DPW, Mr. Darren is on here. If not, we can move to make a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to award the contract for the 2021 to 2023 construction season's concrete pavement repair program to the low bidder, Italia Construction Incorporated of Washington Township, for the unit price stated in the company's bid dated March 23rd, 2021. A first year estimated construction cost of $1,102,911.50 and a second year estimated construction cost of $1,102,911.50 and a third year estimated construction cost of $1,102,911.50 for a 3-year estimated total of $3,308,734.50.
Support.
Motion is supported. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. I apologize. I need to back up and talk to our finance director. This is for the finance director and the city manager, going back to them. Now, a couple of days ago, we were in the newspapers talking about going to get an inmate from Tennessee, alleged prisoner from Tennessee that is accused of allegedly murdering someone in Eastpointe, and we had financial problems. How is that going? I want to know what that's about. And how did that work out?
I'll speak. What I'd like to do, I believe our police chief's on, and I'll have him speak to that.
Hey, good evening, Director.
George, you're on mute.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Right now, we're negotiating a deal with a private company to pick up the prisoner, but there has to be an extradition hearing first, and that's not until next month. And the prosecutor's office has agreed to pay us a sum of money to help defer the costs. However, we don't know what that we don't know how much they're going to give us at this point, but as I stated before, no matter what, we're picking up the prisoner. It doesn't matter what cost it is, but typically it's not a traditional duty for a local police department to go out of state to pick up a murder suspect. However, we have it under control. We have spoke with this private company a few times that do many pickups. They're bonded, licensed, bonded. So we're going to go that route.
Okay, thank you, because I want to clarify that I got a lot of calls and emails and things like that saying Eastpointe doesn't have any money, and we wanted to clarify that that is what the if you correct me if I'm wrong, Director, for the prosecutor of Macomb County, that's they're supposed to pay for that. And I actually talked to
Yes.
the prosecutor, Mr. Lucido, earlier that same day, and he said that we will have all the funds, and you're telling me we don't. And he also talked about that, you know, that we need as a county, they pay for that, and they didn't have the funds to pay for that. So it wasn't the city of Eastpointe.
Correct.
So it was just
It was
said that
blown
in
out
the
of
newspaper.
proportion.
It was blown out of proportion.
Yes.
So Eastpointe, we do our job, we solve our crimes, and we do what we're supposed to do. Isn't that right, Director?
Correct.
All right, let's
Madam-
move on.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I just wanted one minor comment about this. We need to send that bill to the prosecutor's office.
Yes.
I think it's completely inappropriate that he's just, I mean, obviously we're doing the right thing here, but just
Right.
pushing it off onto us.
Yes.
I think his office needs to pay for this, and I
Absolutely.
wanted to officially say that.
We plan on
Right.
doing that, Mr. DeMonico, and I'm certain that they'll find some money. But that is typically, in my 35 years, I've never had to pick up a prisoner out of state for a murder warrant. We're just not equipped for that.
Sure.
But we'll take care of it. It's under control.
Thank you.
Right. Well, you told me it was already paid for that day, and you
Yeah,
had it
it's not paid.
in the bank. So I guess I'm gonna call him tomorrow and ring his phone call. So if he's listening in or somebody representing him, you'll be finding a phone call from the mayor tomorrow. So we're gonna go back. Thank you for that information. We're gonna go to new business, to the bid award, item B, 2021 to 2023, miscellaneous street repair.
And Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would move to award the 2021 and 2023 construction season's miscellaneous street repair program to the low bidder Italian Construction Incorporated of Washington, Michigan, for the unit prices stated in the company's bid dated March 23rd, 2021. For the first year, estimated construction costs of $210,825. The second year, estimated construction costs of $220,125, and a third year, estimated construction cost of $210,825. And the third year, estimated construction cost at $641 and $775.
Support.
Motion is supported. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, the drinking water revolving fund. Council,
Sure,
and
Madam
this,
Mayor.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll move that we schedule a public hearing for Tuesday, May 18th, 2021 at 7 p.m. on the city's application of the Michigan Department of Energy, Great Lakes and Environment Drinking Water Revolving Fund Project Plan.
Support.
Motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Next item is the adoption of resolution number 21-1921. Council,
Sure,
Mayor,
Madam
I'll
Mayor.
motion to adopt resolution number 21-1921, approving MDOT's contract number 20-5571 for the intersection improvement work at the intersection of Highway M102 8 Mile Road and Highway M3 Gratiot Avenue.
Support.
motion is supported. You have Councilman.
Yeah, just one quick question, Madam Mayor. I want to confirm that, I checked out the intersection just real quick. So we're going to be fixing, I'd assume, all of the asphalt from where like Gratiot is fixed up into until the 8 Mile asphalt. There's like a chunk there that wasn't fixed, just assuming when the two projects happened and then the crosswalks are widened and such. Didn't seem like there was a huge amount of detail in this resolution, so I just figured I'd just confirm out loud here. Who knows that?
The DPW director, is he here?
He is, he's on, he's on mute.
Good
Searching
evening,
for the mute.
director.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Yes, Mr. Monaco, that is correct. In addition, they will be doing new traffic signals, new lighting, new sidewalks.
Great.
Yes, they will also be getting rid of the left turn from eastbound 8 Mile onto northbound Gratiot. They will be making them do a turnaround.
That'll be a huge improvement. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think our share was a whole $3,200. I think.
That's exactly right, $3,200.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I believe we have motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is Memorial Park concession stand electrical change order. Council, any conversation on this?
Madam
Madam-
Mayor.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir. Which
wouldn't-
one? Go ahead, Councilman, then Ms. Lucido, if you don't mind.
Lucido?
I just
Yeah,
have
Ms.
one. I just have
Go
one.
ahead. It doesn't matter. Go ahead. I don't
Okay,
care.
thank you.
Go ahead.
I just have a really quick comment. So this is the second time the Memorial Park concession stand has been brought to us to increase funding for the renovation project that we're doing over there. And I understand that we have a lot of money already invested in a lot of work, so obviously we have to approve this. But I'm just wondering, I know that, they keep saying that there was like walls up that covered a lot of it, but a lot of this, like, it was going into the electrical panel box, which I know was visible prior to. So I'm not sure why like some of these costs were estimated so low. I don't know if administration would have an explanation for that, or if there's someone from AEW on that could answer that.
Someone from AEW on here, Ms. Jones, or could our director answer that as well?
Mayor? This is
Yes.
Jim Marie.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. Ms. Walton, did you put Matthew Burge on, the architect, as well? He might be on, I think he was on screen number 2.
earlier. Let me see if he's still on. Yes, he is on.
Yeah.
If you could put him on, because that way you'll have myself and you'll have the project architect on at the same time.
We got him on. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, council, for having me. So appreciate your time. May I just jump right in, or?
Please.
Yeah, so to Councilwoman Lucido's question, the electrical room was not a room we were working in. So, I mean, yeah, one might say, well, why wasn't this looked at? Well, that was outside the scope of our project. We weren't looking at the electrical room and sort of seeing physical short circuits or sparks coming out of things. We would have no reason to suspect that the electrical was faulty at that point, because we can't see the lamp cords and things that were used in the ceiling space, in the attic space. It's 50 years of deferred maintenance that was not properly done, that we really can't see unless we do destructive demolition into wall cavities and attic spaces.
Was that the same place that I think Ms. Moore was talking about the wall shouldn't have been tore down? Was that the same location?
No, I don't believe that was the same location. We're talking about the attic space was a lot of this equipment.
Okay. But it sounds like that's the same location for another event that we keep on, like that area, we keep on finding problems that the people who inspected should have found before they gave us a total. That's what I'm saying. And we keep on finding, circling problems. I think Councilman Curley has something to say. You stay right there, Mr. Berg, just in case you have other questions.
Yep.
Councilman Curley.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just going to make the motion, but if the discussion still goes on, I can wait to do the motion.
Okay, Ms. Lucido, I don't know if you still have continuing.
So yeah, I guess just like moving forward, when we do these projects, like to make sure that like the engineers go through and really look at the building before giving us an estimated cost, because by just looking at this electrical panel in these pictures, to me, you can kind of tell like there's some, it's not done right. Like we should have known we were gonna have to hire an electrician to update that, even without going in the ceiling or in the attic. So I don't know why that wasn't tagged before. And I guess that's where my concern was. Like that should have been brought to council in the initial proposal.
Mayor, can I address Mrs. Lucido's comment?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Lucido, one thing that Matthew mentioned that I guess I just want to emphasize in this sense. Literally, the only thing that was going to happen, the power room is just the power room. It's locked all the time. No one has access to it. I only say that not because we didn't have access, but to say the only thing that was going to be done in there was literally changing the light fixture in that room. Other than that, nothing was anticipated to be done because we had never received a complaint from any of either the rear attendants or our own park attendants or anyone else, nor was there any indication of anything that had to be done in that room. Literally, like Matthew said, there was never, if you turned on a light switch, you saw sparks fly, or if you hit a circuit breaker, the lights would dim at the ball field. We never had received a complaint, never noticed anything wrong. If you open that up, you're absolutely correct. It's like, oh man, there needs to be work done in this room. And we were looking at, in an attempt to try to lessen the cost of this, at least momentarily, was can we separate this out from what's got to be done in the walls and in the attics and in the 95% of the building that we're working in? And the comment from the contractor was, you can. He goes, but this work's got to be done. And we also did this. We also brought in, we have a city electrician on staff that, not on a retainer, but he's paid on a per job basis. And he's contractually obligated to do our work. We also have our electrical inspector, who's also a former electrical contractor. Both of these people have been out to the job site several times to look at the work in question in terms of, does the price seem fair? Could the contractor have known this? Should he have known it? Should we have known it? And we were out there and both of them said from their electrical background was, there's no way this could have been done unless you had taken down walls that may have been, or ceilings that necessarily didn't have to come down. But the work is required to be done. He goes, you literally can't we can't finish the project unless we do what's in the walls and the ceiling. So I understand what you're saying, but we did go through the building at least twice when we were drawing up the specifications. And the original estimate from the architect was $429,000. So I think we're going to come really, really close to that when we finalize the project versus the $379,000, which was the second low bid.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
To answer your question, yes, this is the same project that I had questioned earlier a few months ago about the wall coming down. This is that project. However, I do understand that when it comes to electrical, other than the panel box, but they wasn't in that location before, you can't know what's going on inside the wall until you open it up. Unless there is something pervasive like sparks or something, you really can't know what they're doing or have done behind the wall until you open it up. And I have seen extension cords in a wall before at an apartment building, and it was like, oh my God, stop the project. You can't move forward until you change out all the electrical. So I do understand that.
Any other questions before we, I think Mr. Curley wants to do a motion.
Sure, thank you. I would move to approve the change order number 16, which authorizes the additional electrical and related work in order to move forward on the Memorial Park concession stand project and appropriate $17,500 to fund the additional work.
Second.
Motion and support, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, the next item is to authorize proceeding the pension bond. Now, I think I spoke with the finance director on this because I know we looked at two different bonds, I believe. And I think I asked you, can we go out and put something on a ballot where we do a millage? Director.
Yes, and I responded to the email. To do a millage, we would have to go out for what's called an Act 345 pension. It would actually create a new pension system. It's only for police and fire, would not include non-public safety. It would take a vote of the people. If they were to vote it in, at that point, all public safety would move into this new pension system, and then it would be funded with the millage. But none of the non-public safety people could be in it, so we would still have a MERS obligation for that portion of the population. But it does take a vote of the people.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just gonna ask how much money would that save? I know when we took out the bond, it would have, we would have been paying an interest of $21 million.
Over a 20-year period, right?
20-year period, yeah. And so will we save more money doing the millage, or what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, that would save the general fund a ton of money, but it would cost the residents a significant amount. Just the pension piece would be 6.5 mils. If you include the retiree healthcare, which is allowable, it would be 9.5 mils. So it would be a significant impact on the taxpayers. The bonding, doing a pension bond wouldn't impact the taxpayers at all. It's money that would be paid out of the general fund, money that is currently being paid out of the general fund. It would just be paid out over a longer period of time instead of the shortened time frame that we have with the state mandates. So that's kind of the advantage of doing the bond. It's going to cost us some interest, but it will spread the payments out over a longer period of time. And it won't cost the residents a dime doing it that way.
Well, it sounds like, the general fund is money that's allocated from taxpayers' money. Same thing as millage, correct?
Well, there's a specific law that we the city cannot just go do a millage.
Right.
So there's a specific law, specific creation of a whole new pension system, and then that's what would allow us to do the millage. But it is a vote of the people.
Okay, the reason I bring that up is because I was calling several different other mayors of different, cities, and they said they did a millage to help fund the pension for their police and fire. And so that's why I came up with that. That might be an option, Now, I know the next item on the agenda is also the healthcare changes. Now, you couldn't do a pension and a healthcare change millage all for the same thing? Just
the
OPEB and pension, collaborating those two in one millage?
Yes. A pension bond would include the OPEB liability, or could include the OPEB liability.
And would that save us some money as well?
It would get it fully funded, and then we wouldn't be paying that out of the general fund as well. We'd be paying the bond out of the general fund instead of paying the premiums out of the general fund.
Okay. And can we put a time limit on that for just say 10 years or what? 15
for the bond?
Years? No, for the millage. If we do the millage, can we pay it quicker off than having a 20-year? With the millage, can we do 10 years, half of that?
No, the millage would be permanent. Once that pension system's created under Act 345, it's permanent, it's there forever. And whatever the needs are to fund it are going to come out of the taxpayers' pockets.
Okay, so we just needed that bond and that bond and the possible millage to get us, caught up to where we need to be. So not for a lifetime.
Bond would definitely get us caught up. Yes.
The millage would not.
The millage, we'd be making payments to MERS based on the MERS schedule. We would set the millage each year based on what is needed to generate the money we are required to contribute. So that millage would actually go up every year until we're fully funded.
How long would that be?
Under the current scenario, the bulk of it would be through 2032. Then it's going to drop down. There'd still be an amount. It would just be significantly smaller after that point.
About 12 years. It sounds like 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
Maybe max 15?
Yep.
Okay, Councilwoman Lucido?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Blum, if we were to bond this out right now, we would be able to budget to make the bond payments according to the bond schedule, correct? With what we're already bringing in with our tax revenue?
Correct.
So, in my opinion, I would rather not burden our residents with an increase in taxes by doing another millage. I think right now where we're at, if we can afford with the taxes that we're already levying from the residents, would be able to pay for this bond, I think this would be the way to go instead of adding an extra burden onto our residents right now, who a lot of them with COVID and everything else are already financially struggling. So they might not even vote to have their taxes raised with the millage.
I don't know, that's up to the people in November. You'd be surprised what people vote for. Councilman DeMonico?
I just had one quick question, Mr. Blum, for just in general here. If we went with the proposed motion, are you coming back with a specific plan, or do we need to pick the specific amount of principal right now and those sorts of things?
So all I'm asking for is council's, I guess, approval that they want to go ahead with a pension bond. I would then go out with proposals to hire the bond counsel and the municipal financial advisors. We'd put a proposal out. You'd actually be back approving their contracts when we were ready for that. Once they're in place, they would then work with me to figure out how much we should bond, what the length of the bond should be, whether it should be 15, 20, 25 years, that type of stuff. But all I'm asking for is I need to know that you guys, the council is comfortable with doing a pension bond so that I can proceed with getting the ball rolling.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, because I was just gonna, I guess the only thing I was gonna propose was a mix of the two plans. Maybe even we do 25 million principal, but pay the same payment as the 40 million, and then we pay only 20% interest over the course of it instead of like, I think it was like 35 or something. But I guess you would present us options like that then at some point. And we'd approve a final option before
before it goes out to market. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. In general, I'm in favor of this route. I think we definitely need to do something about our pension costs, just like many other communities do. So thank you.
Sounds like someone wants to make a motion unless we have any more conversation on this.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to authorize administration to proceed with acquiring the services of bond counsel and municipal financial advisors for the purpose for issue a pension board bond.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Next item is the authorized proceeding with retiree healthcare changes. Council?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
So one quick question, once again, just to clarify with Mr. Blum, you are proposing the changes that were proposed to us at our last meeting?
Correct.
And that was to move to, okay, that's it, that's all I have. Madam Mayor, I'll motion to authorize administration to proceed with retiree healthcare changes as presented with January 1, 2022 effective date.
Before we get a second, I know we had a gentleman on the call earlier and he was worried about his retiree coverage. Now, does any of these are very, significant to him getting what he needs? And what would be best for us to make sure that he gets what he needs to cover him, not only him, but other retirees moving forward? Mr. Blum.
Right. No, nobody would be losing coverage. What would happen is, and I'm not sure exactly what coverage Mr. Zavslak has, but some of them currently have like $100 deductible that would increase to a $500 deductible. Some of them have $5 drug cards that would jump to a $15 drug card. So everything is minimal, but it has a significant savings to the city. Most new retirees, anybody that's retired since 2010 won't have any change. It's only the people that have been retired for, 20 or 11 years now, 11 years or more, that would come up a little bit.
So they have a higher deductible, probably is mostly what the changes were.
Correct.
Okay, which saves the city more money because we don't have to, pay that much. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second or any more discussion? Councilman DeMonico?
I'll support it and have discussion then. Just
Okay, please.
one quick question. Thank you, Mr. Zavislak, for coming out and emailing us also. I did read your email for sure. I just wanted to confirm again, like we did at the last special, at the special meeting that we first discussed this, that these changes, and I'm assuming we're talking option A from last time too. I think I just wanted to mention that also because there was also the option B, which was a lot more, a lot different of an option for sure, that these changes wouldn't violate any collective bargaining agreements. I think that's what I took from our last meeting and just wanted to make sure that because that was like the question I asked at the last meeting. So I just wanted to confirm that again then.
I'm assuming Brandon has left the meeting, but yes, with the court rulings, they've ruled that the contract ends when the contract ends. It doesn't continue for a lifetime. And we do have the flexibility to make these changes without any fear of litigation.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for your service, Mr. Zavislak.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Please call the roll. There's no more discussion.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes. Moving right along to item approval of special land use for 24930 Gratiot. And in here it says that request council to review and approve planning commission's recommendation. I don't see what this site was gonna be for planned to be. Ms. Doom? What were they? I didn't have enough information on here. It's just
Right, I have our planning director our building director should be on. And I'll have her, there she is, she's on page 2. Erin, you're on mute. So if you would please share a little bit about this agenda item.
This was an application made by Andre Hughes, and it is for the site plan approval to open a restaurant there at the address at the 24930 Gratiot. So the planning commission reviewed and approved it, and we're just asking council for their final blessing.
is that the one that's been sitting at the corner? That restaurant that's sitting at the corner? It was supposed to be a
Yes, Madam
restaurant
Mayor.
for 5 years and it hasn't been one. Is this under the same person? Under the same name?
I'm sorry,
Hardcastle?
Madam Mayor, that I can't answer for certain. I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, that I can't answer for certain.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not probably gonna approve this because I want to actually see who's the owner of that building because it's been sitting as a restaurant for over 3 years to 5 years, and it has never been a restaurant. If I'm thinking about the one that's sitting on the corner.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
this is Kim Holman, if I may.
okay,
It's my understanding that they recently purchased this from my review. that they
okay.
re- And it's on the, if you're going north on Gratiot, it's on the right-hand side. But this was recently purchased by the Hughes, and they are Black business owners and looking excitedly to open this restaurant.
What's it currently called? So I can know.
I think it's actually like a hydro something.
Okay, that's a different, okay, I'm thinking of a different business that's been a restaurant,
No, ma'am.
supposed restaurant in Eastpointe for over 5 years and nobody has did business there. I would definitely not approve that again. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Okay,
Council?
Madam Mayor, so that's not the same one. If I may, I would move to approve the special land use at 24930 Gratiot.
Support that.
Motion is supported. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
No, don't come over
Mayor
here.
Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Thank you. And welcome to our family, to this new business. I can't wait to see what kind of restaurant this turns out to be. So you'll keep us informed, Ms. Holman, about that when they're opening, so we can support this business. Moving right along to the 2020 annual report from the Planning Commission.
Sure, Madam Mayor, I can make a motion. And I guess I did want to comment, if any other commissions turn in annual reports, I wouldn't mind seeing them on the agenda also. But yeah, I'll move to receive and file the 2020 annual report from the Planning Commission.
Support.
Motion is supported. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Councilwoman Lucido.
Yes, sorry.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Next is the 2020 annual rental report.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to receive and file the 2020 annual rental report.
What? I had a question why this was on, why was this on the agenda? Who put this on the agenda?
Ms. Doom?
Would be our building director who put this on. She felt that that was something you wanted to review and have a little bit more information about.
If I may, Madam Mayor, I recalled that at some point there was discussion at a previous meeting and that the council was interested in some information. And so this was prepared just to provide an update of the program.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Information is information for council. I didn't know we had all these rental properties here in Eastpointe. That's over almost half the homes, a little bit. That's a lot. Okay, council.
Sure, I had a couple questions then, I guess.
Okay.
Well, first, I think we all, some of us feel a little differently from each other, but I just would prefer just not to have something like this on the agenda. I think just in terms of if you own your home or if you don't, I think, I think we're all, great citizens of the city. And I know we've had this conversation before, some people that own their homes take care of them, some that don't, and same thing with, renters. But then also on here, I guess I was just trying to understand the numbers we say in the brief here, that 4,677 are registered as rental properties, but then I'm not sure how to get that number from the report. If you add December in here, 2015 plus 1678, you get a number that's almost is about 1,000 lower, 3,693. So you're looking at a 28.9% or 36.6, depending on this. I assumed that number, the 4,677 that are registered as rentals was adding together the two, the total number of certified rental units plus the total number of rental units on hold. I figured you had to be one or the other. But if that could be explained, I guess.
Ms. Hardcastle?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
The cover page just gives us an overview of, and just as you said, Councilman DeMonico, we're at about what we calculate is 37% of the homes are rental or not owner occupied. Those are just the ones that we've identified. As far as the numbers on the report, I know when I went over these with Mr. Ledoux, there was a discussion about how, that there wouldn't be an absolute amount because of all the changes. I did make a notation, but he asked me to mention that there were times where based on the times that the certificates lapsed or dropped off. So I'm sorry, Councilman DeMonico, as far as why, they're not adding up. I know the number is very fluid with the changes each month of property registrations and, us identifying or removing properties from the rental status.
Sure. So I mean, how do we get to the 4,677? We just added 1,000 then? I mean, I don't know where that number comes from then.
We ran a report through BSNA. And so that was where we came up as those are the ones that are showing under our rental program or not owner occupied. So this was a BSNA query that we did, Councilman DeMonico. And then the
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the summary or overview was put together. And this was something that had been established during Ms. Van Heren's time of tracking mechanism that they did. So I just asked him to update it when there was previous discussions at the meetings, just to provide an overview. So I'm sorry, that may be more detailed and not as accurate as, just giving you the overview of to get a pulse of the amount or percentage of, it's about 37%, just as you said, Councilman DeMonico.
Okay. Okay, I guess I guess the actual report then shows like 28.9%, adding those two numbers together, but okay, that was my only question.
Okay, well, thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am, Councilwoman.
Yes, I was the one who asked for this report once we were doing some of the changes that we were doing with the fees and the numbers for the fees that we were changing. I asked how many rental properties we had in the city. So I am thankful for this report. And I know the numbers are not adding up correctly though, but I am thankful for the report.
Actually, I'm thankful for the report, being an overseer of a community, knowing how many homes that are owned and those are rental properties lets me further know it's our job to make sure that people have the access to affordable housing here in Eastpointe. So I'm glad to see this report and continuously add these reports and let us know, because we don't know everything, and that's this is your daily job, and and it helps us be better public servants. So thank you for this report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Did you get a motion on this already or no?
Yes,
If
ma'am.
not,
I made a motion. I did not get support.
okay.
You needed support? I'll support.
Okay, motion and support. Please call the roll. Thank you.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Oh,
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next is the city manager review. This was added on by Councilwoman Lucido.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hope everyone was in receipt of the final copy of the review. And I hope you guys, if you had any questions or concerns, or if I made any mistakes, because I do make mistakes, Mr. DeMonico pointed out that I had the date wrong. So I appreciate that. So yeah, I'd just like to motion to receive and file the review for the city manager.
Motion is supported. Call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next item is discussion and possible approval for a citywide yard sale requested by Councilwoman Lucido. Councilwoman.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I added this to our agenda. I know in the past we have approved a citywide yard sale weekend. It seems to me like on Facebook, someone had posted that they were interested in doing it again. So I thought I'd bring it up to council because it's something that's not going to cost us any money, that maybe will give the residents a chance to clean out their garages, clean out their basements, their attics, and get rid of some of those things on one weekend without having to come and pull the permit. And I just thought it might be a good idea to give, the residents something to do during this time also. So I don't know if the rest of council would agree to set a date for a citywide yard sale. I kind of left the dates open because I don't think the residents would care if we did it in August, if, people wanted to wait to give people more of a chance to get vaccinated before we moved ahead with it. But I just thought it might be a good idea to do something fun for the residents.
Okay. Maybe using the same date that we used last time. What about that? What was the date last time that we used, Ms. Lucido?
I've got those dates for you.
First, right? Or
was it 5/21?
No. Oh, the dates from 2019, we did August 16 and 17.
Oh,
okay. You want to keep those same dates? Sounds good to me.
Well, is that a weekend, August 6th and 17th?
Oh, yeah, of course. On a Tuesday, so that would probably be kind of difficult for people.
Oh, yeah.
No, I can answer Mr. Curley's. Sorry, go ahead, whoever was talking.
Oh,
No, go ahead. I mean, you want it on a weekend, right?
Yeah, on a weekend.
So what would be the closest 2 days to what we had it 2 years ago?
August 13th through the 15th.
3 days.
Or if Ms. Lucido, I think it was, if I recall correctly, the third weekend, I think was like one that was brought to us. So I don't know, because it was some sort of, I don't know if that was maybe Mr. Marucci, I think he brought it up. Is that the same weekend that everyone does them up and down like the thumb or something? I thought that, if I recall that properly. So that'd be like the 20th and 21st, 20th and 21st. Yeah.
I'm fine with doing the third weekend. I would say that would work for me. I would up for, the 20th through the 22nd.
3 days. You're saying 3 days, Sarah?
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think that's usually the dates people run a yard sale.
Okay, so whoever reads the motion can add the date into that, where it says dates chosen by council, just add those dates.
Yes. So if council agrees, I'll make a motion. I mean, if everyone's for it.
We all agree. Go ahead.
We agree.
All right, Madam Mayor, I will motion in accordance with sections 32-81 and 32-85 of the Code of Ordinances that the City Council designate the third weekend of August, August 20th through the 22nd, as a citywide garage sale days in the city of Eastpointe.
Support.
Motion and supported. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next item is discussion and possible approval on city elections. This was requested by Councilman DeMonico. Councilman DeMonico.
Sure, thanks, Madam Mayor. So I wanted to bring this up. We originally had this on our January 19th meeting, and the motion did not pass at the time. It was 2-3. I was in the no majority, so that's why I'm bringing it back up, according to Rule 6 in our council bylaws. Whoever's in the majority can bring it up to, see if we'd want to consider the other option. So that's what I'm doing here. And just for a quick intro, of course, I have the email I sent in the packet. But this was basically about two different things. We, of course, are doing ranked choice voting right now for city council elections. We're, essentially a leader in this area. We're the only city doing ranked choice voting elections. I mean, Mayor, I saw you on MSNBC with Miss, our retired U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuaid talking positively about ranked choice voting. And we are able, with our consent decree, to get together with the U.S. Department of Justice and agree to extend it. And ranked choice voting is like a primary and general all in one. 10 years ago in Eastpointe, we did have primaries, maybe 12 years ago now. where you'd vote in August and then got to come back in November. But ranked choice essentially handles that. And you can do a primary in general all in one. You only need to vote once. And then the election season is also a little shorter then. And then the second item was the mayoral primary elections. And I was bringing that up because that's not part of the consent decree. And to have then primaries, including ranked choice voting as the primary for city council, we'd need to do a standard primary then for the mayor's race. And then we would be doing primaries for all of our elections. And that is why I wanted to bring that up. I put it into two separate, we could probably discuss it as two separate ideas. We could talk about RCV first and then the primary elections, but I wanted to basically bring that up and see what everyone thought.
Does council want to discuss it?
Oh, yeah.
Have any interest?
Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So if I understand, Councilman DeMonico, we're talking about two different suggestions, and it may end up being two different motions. One motion or one suggestion is about having a primary for the mayoral election. I think you mentioned that. The other one, I think by now everybody knows my opinion on ranked voting. I don't think it is the same thing as a primary. The election coming up this November, you can't technically vote. There's two positions up. You can't vote for two people. Column A, or what was it, a slice of pizza A, you vote for one person. Then you go into column B, which was, I don't know, whatever, and you vote for the second person's. And I don't know what the DOJ would say. How could we even guess that? They accuse us of all kinds of things, and that's why we had ranked choice voting, and it seemed to have hopefully satisfied the DOJ. I don't know. We haven't asked them yet, but if I did anything, I guess I did. If I did anything on the second question, Councilman DeMonico, I would put it on the ballot for the council. Two choices. Do you want to go back to the primary election for the city council, or do you want to maintain ranked voting? That would be one thing for the council. The other one with the mayoral position, I would not object to having the mayoral position on the ballot. Do you favor having a memorial election, a primary election? So I'll shut up for the time being, then I'll come back.
Okay, Councilwoman Lucio.
Yes. So I had a question for Mr. Albright. Because we were in a consent decree with the Department of Justice over ranked choice voting, would we be able to put on the ballot in November a question for the residents if they supported the ranked choice voting initiative? Because for me, I would not want to make the decision again to use ranked choice voting without the residents having a voice in that. So is that something that we would be able to do during this election?
Councilmember Lucio, yes, that ballot question could be placed on the ballot for the voters to decide. It would not have any legal effect, though, because ranked choice voting is not permitted in the state of Michigan under current election law. What that vote may do, though, is provide guidance for the council whether to agree to extend the current consent decree. As I included in my monthly status report, I was recently contacted by Attorney Daniel Freeman with the Department of Justice. He contacted me to inquire whether the city council was interested in starting that discussion to perhaps extend the consent decree that was previously entered in this matter, in which the city is still under the authority of. And so, yes, the only way that the ranked choice voting could be continued in the state or in the city of Eastpointe would be to extend the consent decree, because presently ranked choice voting is not recognized in the state of Michigan. I know that the city of Ferndale, their voters many years ago approved ranked choice voting, but it had no legal or binding effect because, again, ranked choice voting is not recognized under Michigan election law.
So thank you, Mr. Albright. So I would definitely be willing to put that on the ballot to ask the residents their opinion, because I think that that would be important to making my decision now that the residents have been able to use it in 2 elections. If moving forward, it's something they wanted to continue to use. And I would also support putting on the ballot to bring back mayoral primaries. So if we wanted to propose Mr. Albright to write ballot language to put those on the ballot in November, I would support both of those.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, this discussion we having, number one, I think we all would want to have it on this coming November's ballot, but this would take effect for the 2023 election, because I think that's the next election, right? Am I right, guys?
Correct.
Right? As I said, I would not support anything about ranked choice voting if that was by itself as a question to the voters. I would vote yes on, do you want ranked choice voting or primary, and give them a choice to vote for either one. But just to have ranked choice voting on there, I guess I'd be very surprised, to be honest with you, if that passed. And then you're back to square one.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
But if you have the choice on there of primary and ranked choice voting, then at least the citizens have a choice of what they want to do.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman.
I recall us having this discussion before, and I also recall several of the residents saying that they were not in favor of ranked choice voting when they had their when we had it open to the public to speak. And so with the people that I heard, I would side with them. And if the people who actually had attended the meeting were not in favor of it, then I would be on the resident side.
Madam Mayor?
Councilwoman, were you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, Councilman.
So sure. So yeah, I mean, I know plenty of residents that are in favor of ranked choice voting. As we know, a lot of, residents don't come out to show support necessarily for something. If we put something on the agenda, a lot of people come out saying they don't like it. The other side for any motion, is true. I do know plenty of residents that like ranked choice voting. I think, it's good. But I also, I guess, I'm curious as to what this ballot question would look like, because I guess what I'm thinking here is we've only had 2 elections with ranked choice. I don't think that, quite shows, what it could, in just 4 short years. It's a proportional system. We've only had 2 elections, and you'd need a longer period of time to show that effect. And I think, I guess I don't know what the Department of Justice would think on that, since we mutually agreed with them. But I guess, Mr. Albright, what would the question that Ms. Lucido was putting forward? I mean, what could that potentially look like on the ballot then?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would need to speak with both members from the Department of Justice and also do some research on what exactly the language would look like. And what would happen then is to bring draft language before the council for discussion, and also give members of the public an opportunity to provide their input as to the proposed language before it went any further.
Okay.
Any
So,
other?
I don't know if for the rest of the council, it would be in agreement to having Mr. Albright draft something, and then we can still vote on that at a later meeting, whatever he ends up drafting for both of the suggestions Mr. DeMonico made.
Right. My only concern is I'm gonna tag along with Councilwoman Moore said. We had several people that was actually was part of the ranked choice voting, and actually had discovered that wasn't a good way to vote. and other residents that wasn't getting elected, that use ranked choice voting, that didn't like it. What I would like to see is data showing the people that used regular, I think in the last yeah, was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. It was some people that didn't do ranked choice voting that still voted for president and didn't do council. And I want to see the data on why that happened. And it lets you know that people don't like it. So I don't want to just vote on something and put something on the ballot when we have the data that shows that people don't like it. And also on the mayor part, I don't agree with that. It was 10 years ago. Why are you bringing it back? You haven't told me why is it efficient to bring stuff back. I want to know when you bring stuff back, why you on the agenda. That's second. If we already discussed, it saves residents money not having a primary. We talked about that last time. So why would you bring it back for mayor? It's the same thing. So, and to correct you on MSNBC, when I was on there, I didn't say I like ranked choice voting. It had me on there to want to know, me as the first Black mayor, how did I get people out to vote? And how did the Biden or the Trump administration can do the same thing? So they asked for my opinion, not on ranked choice voting, but how did I get voters to do something that they never did before? I never agreed to ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting was something that we, as a city, was in legislation that we did that wasn't something that we wanted to do or the residents wanted to do. That was a legal binding agreement to let them know that we wanted to show that we want equality throughout the city of Eastpointe and want everybody to have a chance to be elected. And this voting way of ranked choice voting did not show that. We have data that shows that. So since we have data that shows that, I don't understand why council wants to continue something that nobody wants to do. And I want to see those couple people that Councilman DeMonico was talking about, because I want to see the data. I don't want to see the people. I want to see the data shows the people. You will see how many people voted presidential compared to those that did not vote for council. And I want to see that data. And I know city administration can give me that. So we get like 10,000 people that voted for president, and then we go to the city council, we have 4,000 people. That lets you know there's something wrong with this progress. And if council wants to be blindsided by that, that bothers me. Because it shows that the Department of Justice is right about a lot of things, that we are happy that people are blindsided and don't know how to vote or don't understand something. We have to be okay with that. We want to continue that. And I'm not about that. Councilman DeMonico.
And Mayor, okay, yeah, a couple points. The drop-off numbers for a city council race on a presidential election are going to be huge, like you're stating, no matter what election it is. It has nothing to do with ranked choice voting, just because a couple thousand people, and I think Mr. Curley, you mentioned it before too, that there was a couple thousand drop-off on between president and city council. That happens no matter what race it is, if it's ranked choice or not. I don't think there's any correlation there between the type of election. And in terms of money, I was proposing this because it's essentially possible we could have like one primary election every like 8 years. If we go just even one election where there's 2 or less mayoral candidates, we wouldn't need a primary, and we're not doing city council elections. So you go from say 2023 to 2031 potentially without a single primary election. So in terms of money, it's very small to just do, and that's why I'm suggesting the council races be ranked choice, because it's a primary in general and one, and then we just still have just one election. So the costs are not extra. That's why I'm proposing this mix. I think it's most effective. We need to have both of them, or else I think it doesn't make 100% sense. I think either of, I think they're both good, because then it guarantees a majority of the voters support the candidates that end up winning. Without a primary, you can't guarantee that. And then the DOJ, I mean, the DOJ is not going to be happy if we don't do ranked choice voting. So I don't know how you come to the conclusion that they'd be happy if we don't go forward with ranked choice voting.
I didn't say Department of Justice, I said residents. And the Department of Justice also saw that me being elected mayor had nothing to do with ranked choice voting. They also discovered that as well. We didn't need ranked choice voting. It showed that the people voted for who they wanted to vote for. And that's the whole purpose. You want, and it wasn't no confusion there. And if we get the data from the last presidential election till the to the last one and the one before that, and see how many people that came out. I don't think we had ranked choice voting at that time during the Trump administration compared to the Biden administration that is currently in there. I want to see the data of how many people voted the regular way compared to the people that didn't vote during ranked choice voting. The data will show that. I want to see it.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, I agree with you and Ms. Moore that a lot of residents I know have voiced their concerns about ranked choice voting with me also, like that they don't like it. I totally agree with you guys. And that's why I wouldn't want to take the position to just ask the DOJ to extend this. I agree with you. I would not want to take that position. That's why I'm proposing to put it on the ballot to give the residents, because there's a lot of residents at work and can't come to our council meeting, or, you know, they might not speak that they're for it. More people, like most people, they speak against things they want to complain about, not for the positive things. So even if they were at that meeting, they might not have said they supported ranked choice voting. So that's why my suggestion was to put it on the ballot for that, to give the residents that opportunity. But I agree with you. I'm not even going to say I'm 100% fan of ranked choice voting. I just wouldn't feel comfortable moving forward with asking the Department of Justice to extend ranked choice voting without the residents having a voice in that decision first.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
excuse me. I guess I should respond because Cardi mentioned my name. Yeah, I had a question, and 4,000 people did not vote for a council person this last November. And I'll give you the fact that a lot of people in a presidential election only vote for the president. So I'll give you 2,000. I'll give you 3,000 of the 4,000 that didn't vote for a council. But someone please explain to me why the people did not vote for a council person. I can tell you that I have not yet, maybe I'm asking the wrong people, Cardi, but I have not yet talked to one person that likes ranked voting. And I really didn't want to get in an hour and a half discussion on this if we're going to have the city attorney do something. But for instance, as I understand, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong, you have ranked choice voting and the bottom person who gets the least amount of votes is eliminated. Is that right so far?
Yes, and then their
Yes,
their second choice votes are redistributed. Yes.
There you go. They're redistributed. So if I run for council and I finish last, but people voted for me because they loved Harvey Curley. Gosh, he's a wonderful guy. But I came in last. Whatever. And you take those votes that the people voted for me and you distribute it to somebody else. Is that right?
Sir, yeah, according to whoever
well,
they
wait a minute, but
put
that's
as their
right.
second choice.
So no. So in other words,
yes.
So in other words, JD and Rob voted for Harvey because they loved Harvey, but I didn't, but I finished last. So you take their vote, who they loved, and you give it to some other clown that they hated.
Well, hopefully they're.
How does that, see, I'm getting excited. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Well, if they didn't,
excited.
If they only voted for you, then their ballot's exhausted, it's called. But if they put a second choice, say they wanted to vote for the clown second, then the clown would now have their vote because their first choice didn't have enough votes to make it to the final round and win.
Yeah. Well, and we can
yeah.
We're not arguing, Madam Mayor, so we're just discussing. But we could discuss this all night long. There's no way in hell that anybody's going to change my mind that I think ranked choice voting, in a word, is terrible.
Yeah.
And
by drop off.
By putting on the ballot,
Madam Mayor?
I'm almost finished.
Hold on, he's almost finished.
I'm sorry.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, yes, yes,
putting it
ma'am.
on the.
I'm sorry.
Just let me. I'm just almost done. Put it on the ballot, Sarah, and say, well, let the people decide. Well, we could say that about everything, I suppose, couldn't we? Madam Mayor, I'm done.
You're right, we could do it about everything, but
Yeah.
once again, I mean, this is about the way the residents vote, so I think it's important to hear their voice.
So
Madam
I
Mayor?
think, go ahead, Ms. Doom.
Yeah, I'd just like to throw in a little food for thought for everyone listening to this, and I am by charter, by my job, I am the clerk. Sylvia, when we tallied up the votes for the election, and we do it just straight voting the way, one vote, one person type thing, you won the election, flat out. When we did ranked choice voting and we did the recalculation and redistributing, you still won. So whether we had had ranked choice voting or we had, one vote for one person, you absolutely won that election. So that's just a little food for thought that it would not have made a difference in your case. You still won, no matter how you looked at it. So just want to throw that in there, because we sat a long time and did a lot of calculations, and, we had to do some recalculating. And the outcome in your case was, there were different votes that were distributed from the ones who had lesser votes and ranked choice voting, but still, either way, you would have won the election.
Ms. Doom, is there any way that you can get the past numbers? I know that's public information. The past numbers of people that residents voted in a presidential election. We didn't have ranked choice voting until the last one. I just want to see, I just want to know the information and go by that.
Okay, very good. I'll get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to speak on this before we move along? I know this was just discussion. And we're
No, but Madam Mayor, I would like to actually make a motion if possible.
Okay.
I mean, I would like to make a motion to ask Mr. Albright to write ballot language to add a mayoral primary to elections.
I don't know what that means, Sarah.
I mean, I don't know, maybe I worded it wrong.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know how it would be worded, bring it back, or because I don't know if people even knew it stopped. But
so
yeah, you said.
I was gonna do separate motion, so that's why I was doing it this way. I figured this would
okay.
So that's why the first one would be to ask Mr. Albright to draft language for to bring back mayoral primary elections.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
If we're about to do a motion, I would like to ask Ms. Doom, how much does an election cost the city? One election.
Not certain, but I do know that each election is expensive. Whether you have a small election or a large election, the amount of work is similar as far as getting voting booths ready, paying people to, help with, getting all your folks together and paying the part-timers and full-timers. So there's a lot of work in any election, regardless of whether it's a presidential election or it's a regular election. But I'm sorry, I don't have that cost, but I certainly can get that for you and send it to all of you.
Okay, so we have decided over 10 years ago to save the residents money by eliminating the primary elections. And we want to go back to costing the residents more money in a time where they have lost money, where there is COVID out there, where a lot of people have lost their jobs, and now they have to foot more of a bill. I wouldn't be in favor of that.
Me too. Madam Mayor,
yeah,
and I appreciate what Sylvia said, but I guess I have a different philosophy on when somebody asks, well, how much does that cost? I said, well, how right is this thing that we're doing? How much is this really going to help the city? Or any in your life? It doesn't matter. I know I'm not spending, I like spending my money too, but I think a cost of doing something, if it's right, and it's the right thing to do, then cost has never crossed my mind. If it's a right thing that you're doing, it has never crossed my mind. But I need a clarification on Sarah's motion that hasn't gotten a second yet.
I'm just asking Mr. Albright to draft the language if we were to put it on the ballot and then bring it back to council. So we have something to vote on. To bring back a mayor primary and a primary just for the mayor's race.
That's only just for the mayor's race, nothing about ranked choice voting.
I did not say anything about anything else. It's just for the mayor's race. I figured we'd keep there's two separate items Mr. DeMonico brought up here. So I thought we would keep them separate in the motion.
Okay, well, I would support that. And Rich is only gonna, and he may get another thing in a moment, but your motion was just to get a language of how it would look on a ballot if we put it on there about, do you want to go to a primary election for the mayor?
Right.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna support that.
Are you done? Okay. All right, you done, Councilman Curley? Then I'm gonna go to Councilwoman.
Since
Okay.
Councilman Curley piggyback on something that I said.
Sure.
If it stood for the residents before, why did we get rid of it? Why did we get rid of something that was good 10 years ago? What would make us get rid of something that was a good thing?
You know what? That's a heck of a good question, but I haven't been here for 20 years, so you're gonna have to ask the people that were sitting there why they did that. I have no idea why they did it. I wasn't there.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I
Councilman.
could address that. So again, I brought both of these forward because I thought it was not only the most fiscally responsible, but I agree with how Councilman Curley looks at an election. It's, I think the most important thing that a city can hold, but also then ranked choice allowed us to have less primaries. But back in 2010 was a whole different picture, and it was a different ballgame. We were just coming out of the recession, and literally, overnight, the city lost a quarter of its revenue. This was one thing among many, many, many things that the council had to do at the time. They had to let go police officers, firefighters, cut like every budget across the whole city. All kinds of things were going on. And that was like a bigger picture, at least I think from like a voter perspective. Obviously, I wasn't on council at that point in time. So that's how I'm looking at it. And it has to go on the ballot anyway. So if people, don't want to bring primaries back, then they don't. Of course, we can't make that decision. So I just think with the situation being it is, I think it deserves a shot back on the ballot.
Any more discussion? Anybody?
Yes, Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
So after the unemployment that has been supporting people through this COVID is officially over, will we not be in a recession? Because the only thing that's stopping people from being in a true recession is the unemployment that the government is giving people that have lost their jobs due to COVID that will never come back, some of them.
Sure. Yeah, you wanted me to respond, right? Yeah, sure, that's a huge concern for sure. But in terms of the city budget, our budget hasn't gone down by a quarter like overnight because of COVID. We thought there was going to be a huge budget issue, but going forward with this or not, the taxpayers aren't going to pay any different taxes. They're still going to pay the same exact taxes.
Any other conversation, council? We have motion and support. I think this is just on one, correct? This is on the mayoral primaries back on the ballot with written, well, this is for Mr. Albright to go make language for that, how that looks. So I have motion and support. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
No.
Mayor Owens,
No.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes. And Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just for then the second one, I don't know if anyone wanted to discuss other things, but I would just want a motion that Mr. Albright put language together then to put on the ballot a ranked choice voting question for the residents also.
I would support that.
Motion and support. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
No.
Councilmember Curley,
No.
Councilmember Moore,
No.
Okay. Next item, and approval of special event application, the 22nd annual cruise Ratchet, September 9 through 11, 2021. Council?
Yeah, Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This would be our 22nd. I've been involved with the Cruise and Gratiot for 21 years, and this will be our 22nd annual cruise. And the reason we're coming forward tonight and delaying the cruise, which would be held in September 9th, 10th, and 11th, just 3 days instead of the normal 6. We eliminated Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we're only going to have it to 3 days, but we figured this is just a tad over 5 months from now, and that will give us enough time to keep in constant contact with the state and see what's happening. But more importantly, everything is on hold for our committee. And if any of you have ever been involved in such a huge endeavor, it takes months to get things ready for. And we are beginning to get calls from our major sponsors, whose names I'm not going to share with you tonight because I don't think they want to have that out. But they are beginning to call us and say, look, Clinton Township's having their car show, and they're beginning to call us and want us to be involved with them. What are you guys going to do? So time is at the essence for us to do that. And we feel that 5 months and 1 week from now is ample enough time to find out what's going to happen if we're going to have any restrictions on it. But our committee is waiting to find out what the council would have us do.
Madam Mayor.
Also, yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, I did support to have the cruise in June, but I do appreciate the concern that the other council members showed during that, and with the Gratiot Committee, Cruising Gratiot Committee, taking that into consideration and changing it to September. So I would definitely support them changing the dates from June 17th to the 19th to September 9th through the 11th.
Any more discussion on this, council? Call the roll. Got motion and support, correct?
Was there a motion?
Councilman, okay, and I thought Councilman Lucido was supporting. I get a motion on the floor?
Yes, sure. I'll move. I would move to approve the special event application for the 22nd annual Cruise and Gratiot Classic Car Parade Cruise and Car Show for September 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2021, contingent on the state of Michigan's guidelines for parades.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna just interrupt before you get the second. The reason why I'm going to say no to this, I'm gonna go ahead and say it now before we call the roll, is because due to the information that I've gotten from Ms. Doom about the increase, and not only the increase in Eastpointe, but throughout Michigan. So I'm gonna let you know now, due to the fact that we have an increase in our city, and Michigan was top of one of the states that had COVID increase. So let's go with, I need a second.
Madam Mayor, may I say something first?
Yes.
Because we already have an application for June 17th to 19th that has been approved, I think that changing the dates to September would be more appropriate than approving the application. I don't know what Mr. Albright would think of that, his opinion.
Yeah, and Mr. Albright, having executive orders, I'm glad we signed that, having executive orders as the mayor, being proactive in stopping certain things due to the fact of COVID-19, would I be able to veto that approval? Because if it's gonna cause residents to increase the spread, then it's my job to make sure that that doesn't happen. How do I do that?
Yeah, that is a possibility, but I do believe that the amendment that was made to the emergency powers last year, the precise date escapes me. I think that I believe that any action on the part of the mayor is subject to approval by the city council. Again, I'd have to look back at that, but that may be affected. But going back to Councilmember Lucido's statement, yes, this would not be necessarily approving the actual application because that was approved at a prior meeting. This would simply be a motion to change the date.
So, Mr. Curley, I don't know if you want to change your motion.
I think we approved it on based upon the further documentation from the city manager. We saw that further information saying that the the COVID cases were down and things like that. And we were gonna come back and for approval. That's why it's back on here. Because it was subsequent to more information before moving forward. I don't know if that was just me or it was a misunderstanding. Councilman DeMonico, I think you had something to say.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, I did want to clarify one thing, because I think we left that last meeting, I think not on the same page as what Mr. Albright then determined after that meeting. We did think it failed, right? So, and this is going to be against my own vote, but Ms. Lucido and Mr. Curley voted yes, right? And Mayor and Councilwoman Moore, you abstained and I voted no. We thought it failed because there were 2 yes votes and 3 that weren't yes votes, but after looking at how our council bylaws and Sturgis works, it did in fact pass, is what we're saying now. I'm not sure if, any of the residents were understanding that. So I think at least we got to go forward from there. I guess I don't know what that means about date changes and whatnot. I defer to Mr. Albright, but I at least wanted to just clarify that right now. There weren't 3 no votes for it to not pass.
Right, but what I was saying is before we even passed it, it was subject to further investigation before approval, even if we had that. So that's like we get the contract for the resident that bought the house. It said that, okay, we approved it, but later on, if we don't have certain documentations, they can leave or we can quit and come out of contract. Last time we talked about this, we said, okay, I know I said I abstained. It was a yes or no for me and the councilwoman, and you just said no because of COVID, because of the rise of COVID. And I said, if we get information from the governor, from our office, and what they state about the rise and how and what that looks like, we come back to having a final vote. I don't know at that meeting.
Madam Mayor.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Curley. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
The committee is as concerned as you say you are about what's happening. And I can tell you right now, you want to call any doctor or anybody you want and ask them, tell me what's going to be happening in September. So on September 9th, they're not going to be able to tell you that. I happen to think that getting 3 million shots a day, by the time September comes, we're going to have 80% or more of everybody in America with their both shots. So I'm looking at this as a positive venture, and to deny the city of the largest gathering that this city has annually forever. I don't know what you could compare it to, but we are as aware of any circumstances that might come up as the 4 of you are. And I guess to deny this proposal is to deny the citizens of our community and getting out and enjoy themselves after being isolated in their house for over a year now. So this is why we made it in September. Give us all plenty of time to take a breath and get things and make this 22nd a beautiful occasion. Say, come on out, we're free, and this is what our whole attention is going to be. And as I told you before, we're honoring the fire department because they're celebrating 100 years of being here in the city, and that's going to be a big part of our celebration. So I guess I made the motion. Did we get a second? I don't know if we did or not.
I don't think we got a second, but I know Ms. Boone was at that meeting. I think she's at every meeting. How did that meeting go when we did this, when we brought this special event application? Did you know that, or what was your understanding?
Well, at that time, we weren't quite certain as to what the state's guidelines were for parades. And so I looked that up, and our attorney also verified that the state of Michigan is adopting the CDC, which, those are guidelines, and which is 1,000 people for a parade. So as it stands right now, if that parade is more than 1,000 people, it probably couldn't continue, which is why Mr. Curley is coming back with an option in September, provided, as he said, contingent upon what the governor's office has said at that point for the number of people that are allowed for a parade. So I think we got our answer as to, you know, the limit of people for parades, which we didn't have. But from there, is Mr. Curley, I have to agree with him. We don't know what September will bring. And so they would need, his organization would need their own cutoff time as to make a decision as when they're going to go forward or when they're going to, you know, call it quits because of the COVID numbers. And I'm sure his group has an idea of when they'll have that cutoff point, depending on what the governor says at that point. Am I right, Mr. Curley?
Yes.
Okay.
Point of information, I think, is there an unanswered question, I guess, for Mr. Albright? Like, what is the status right now as of our motion from last meeting about the cruise? Like, say we didn't do anything else, what would we assume right now? Was the cruise was approved, right? And it'd be for June, or what, or not? Or were we waiting for something else? I think I'm confused right now.
Councilmember DeMonico, I'd have to look at the actual meeting minutes, but it was my understanding that the event application request was approved. I believe that there was a discussion to get additional information just for council's purposes, and for city administration to also verify what the limitations on size were regarding parades. And as Ms. Doom indicated, and I did confirm that presently the size limitations are limited to 1,000 people. And there are certain other conditions too. If a food is going to be served, it's limited to, I believe, groups of 6 people. Face masks have to be worn at all times unless the individual is eating or drinking. That's currently in place. What will happen or what will be in place as the summer months approach is anyone's guess at this point.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
Oh, Councilwoman.
Thank you. So Mr. Albright, it was approved 2-1.
Yes, there was 2 abstentions and it was approved based on the current bylaw language. And I know that I had suggested in my legal opinion that the bylaw language be amended at some point just to prevent any confusion in the future. But yes, the motion at the time did pass.
So now we're back. I think, did we get a second on the changes of the date?
So I just wanted to clarify that Mr. Curley what was Mr. Curley's motion? Before I second it, if he could just repeat his motion.
Okay.
You're muted, sir.
Mr. Curley, Councilman? You're muted, sir. Okay.
You want me to read the motion again? You've got it right in front of you.
Oh, so I was just wondering, are you doing a new application or are you changing the dates from the original application?
Well, we had to do a new application because the date has changed, and we did do that with the city.
All right, that's fine. I will support your motion.
Okay, thank you.
Motion and support, call the roll.
Madam Mayor, I just had one question about it then. When we say contingent on the state of Michigan guidelines for parades, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I guess clearly we haven't at certain points for certain things, but what does that mean really, right? So right now, it's like 1,000 people we're saying for a parade, right? At what point, I guess, are we saying, okay, say it goes up, to 100,000 at some point, we're all set, right? Going, say tomorrow goes to 100,000, we're all set. But say like, August rolls around and it's still at 1,000. Like when are we making that determination, or how, how's that working?
Well, in all due respect, Councilman DeMonico, you wouldn't make that determination. If this passes tonight, we will make that determination based upon the state's rulings. If the state says so many, then we will make that. It doesn't have to come back to the council. We can take care of that ourselves, Cardi. If it goes up to 10,000 or if it stays at 500, we'll make that decision.
So
that's why we put on their contingent about what the state says.
Okay, well, so then in the application, right, you say 50 to 100,000. So if the limit on the day the cruise starts, if it's not at least 100,000, we have to cancel then.
We'll have to cancel the parade. It's very specific about the parade, isn't it? It says the word parade is very dominant. Is that not true?
Oh,
It
yes,
says-
I,
it says
Councilman, I'm
parade.
just trying to, I'm just asking. I am not, I just want to know what exactly we were voting on. And right now, I don't. So, yeah,
You're voting on, can we have the cruise for those 3 days? That's what you're voting on. It's very clear, 3 days in June and September.
well, so if the events on Thursday and Friday, are a few hundred people, right, in a parking lot, right? Is this
If
what?
that, yeah, you're right. Yeah, a few hundred.
So for those events, if like 300's the limit and you think 300's the most you ever have, we're all set for those two. But if the parade limit stays at 1,000, we'd have to cancel the whole Saturday then.
Oh, it says parade, doesn't it?
Right? Like, well, right, but isn't that what we're essentially considering cruise and Gratiot? I mean, what are we talking about then?
Let's,
All I can say in summary, Cardi, is that we're going to, whatever the state law says, we're going to obey. I hope you understand that we're not out there to try to pull the wool over any council person's eyes. We love this city as much as you do, and we want to be careful with it too. So whatever the state dictates, we'll do. But again, I'm on the other side. My glass is half full, and I believe that things are going to be well by September. But that's okay. That's just me.
I know how we can handle this. Let's put it on the ballot in November. Anyway, Councilwoman Lucido. Councilwoman Lucido, you've been raising your hand forever.
Oh, no, never mind. I was just gonna try to clarify something, but no, we're fine.
Madam Mayor, if I may, with the rise of COVID. Oh, thank you. With the rise of COVID happening, and of course, we don't know what's going to happen at next month after, we don't know what's going to happen to the end of the year. We just don't know. I'm inclined not to pass it myself because of COVID.
Okay, I call for the question.
Let's go for Councilwoman Lucido.
All right, so my question is, so if we don't approve this right now, they can still go ahead and have it in June, correct? Mr. Albright?
Yes, because that event application previously passed, yes, but subject to COVID restrictions.
Oh, yes, exactly, subject to the governor's orders. All right, thank you.
Okay, well, we have a motion and second. Let's call that roll, please.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
No.
Councilmember Moore,
No.
Mayor Owens.
No. So the
Madam Mayor, can we take a break? Because we've been here 2 hours and 45 minutes and we've got another hour plus a closed session and I got to go to the bathroom.
okay, let's do 5 minutes break, everyone, and we can go back into the next half of our council meeting.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Are they? Okay. Sounds good. Welcome back, everyone. We're gonna continue to our council meeting. We are now at the approval of an special event application for Memorial Day Parade. This was requested by Councilwoman Lucido.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If I may, really quick, just a little introduction. So the Memorial Day Parade Committee would like to have a parade this year. We would be following all of the governor's guidelines also. The estimated amount of people that come to the Memorial Day Parade is much lower than the Gratiot Cruise, and it would be under that 1,000 people participant that is right now mandated by the governor. So we would be in a compliance with that.
Set my alarm for 6:30 a.m.
Also, because of COVID, we decided this year we would not have the event at the end of the parade, which we would normally have like a gathering at Kennedy Park where we would give awards out and we would raise the flag and things like that. And so we decided to eliminate that also because we didn't think that having everyone gather in one location was also a good idea for COVID. So we really are trying to take all the steps into making sure that the parade can happen and it can be an event that families can come to and be safe, and they can social distance from other families, and they can wear their masks and the kids can still have a good time, and the community can go out and do something even with COVID being around. So that's why I asked for this to be on the agenda this evening.
Council?
Just one quick comment, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say, for all the reasons Councilwoman Lucido stated, I'll be voting in favor of this event.
Sounds good. So I get a motion?
If I may.
Councilwoman?
Councilwoman Lucido, how many people normally attend this parade?
I would say approximately between 300 and 500 people. I mean, they're not all in one spot. I mean, they would be at Kennedy Park, because a lot of times they would go to Kennedy Park at the end for the thing. But because we're not having that this year, normally I'd say between 300 and 500 people are out on the streets watching the parade along the 1.5 mile route.
Any other questions, council? Moving right along. Can I get a motion on the floor? Or I have one already or no?
Sure, Madam Mayor, I'll motion we approve the request from the Eastpointe Memorial Day Parade Committee to hold a Memorial Day Parade on Monday, May 31st, 2021.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido. Oh, I think you're still on.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
No.
Mayor Owens.
No, I'm sorry, you guys won't see the mayor at this Memorial Day Parade. Moving right along, we're going to do the presentation of city manager's proposal for fiscal year 2021 through the 2022 budget. City Manager Doom.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. What you have before you is the proposed budget as it's a draft budget, and that gives you plenty of opportunity to take a look through it and for us to have an opportunity then to meet for a budget work session and finalize that budget. But I would like to share just a few highlights. It's getting a little late in the night, but I would like to let you know that this is a real positive. The city's taxable value has increased by 24.3 million. It was 483 million, and now it is 507.4. It really shows how the values of the homes in Eastpointe have been coming up. And these are basically last year's values that we're getting from the assessor now. So in this hot market, I think we'll see even more good news with next year's budget. But what this equates to is that we'll realize about $9.3 million in general operating property tax revenue, which translates to we can expect about $377,000 in additional revenue from the values of our homes going up as they sell. So that's a real positive for us. Now, on the other hand, we also expect revenue sharing to decrease because of COVID. It's impacting our state revenues through the reduction in gasoline taxes and business revenue. It's been a financial blow to our economy. On the plus side, though, we are receiving from the federal government about $3.1 million for this year. And we will be also looking at approximately $3 million the next year as part of the American Recovery Act. And yes.
That's not true about the 3 million this year and next year for a total of 6. That's not true.
Actually, that is the information that I have, and that's the information Mr. Blum also has. So we may be.
Can you let her finish her presentation then?
Yes, and so
we can't keep telling the community this. I forwarded information from Congressman Levin's office. Congressman Levin's office confirmed it's $3.17 million. I don't know why we keep saying it's that much for 2 years in a row. It is 3.17 million total, and I forwarded that information to you, to both of you.
Are we
Thank
gonna
you,
have
Mayor.
order
That's
or
all I
not?
have at this point.
Okay, thank you. We'll
You're
come back
welcome.
to this. I apologize. We talk about stir this order, but we don't do it. Let's go continue to the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 21 through 1210 for fiscal year 2021-2022 appropriations and tax levies. Council?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
we're not approving dates to have budget workshop.
Oh, you want to do that? I'm sorry, I was interrupted. So let's go back to the presentation. City Manager, what did you have proposed, Ms. Doom, for some dates that, or council want to put some dates together? I don't know if she has some ideas of dates.
If you'd like, we could certainly put some dates together for you. I was going to leave that to council to decide when that works best, but if you'd like, I'll send out a couple of potential dates and then we'll see everyone's availability. Would that work?
Yes, ma'am. For me, it would. I don't know about council members.
So the
Okay.
dates that are proposed in the packet are not the dates you're proposing, which is May 11th and 12th.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do apologize. I was looking at a
See
different
those.
agenda. Yes. If that is acceptable to council, it can be whatever dates you'd like it to be.
I mean, May 11th and 12th works for me if it works for the rest of council. If you wanted to schedule them to now, I mean, if council is available to do that.
Madam Mayor, I will like to move for motion
Okay,
to receive the city's manager's proposed FY 2021-22 budget and schedule budget workshop for the following dates and time: May the 11th, 2021, and May the 12th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
Or
motion is supported. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Ms. Doom, I don't know if you have, Mr. Levin's information. I can forward to you. I can call him myself personally and get that information. And so we can get the numbers correct, so we don't have this problem moving forward. I don't know if it's a problem or not, so I'm not gonna say that, but, you know, for numbers and data and things like that, I can forward that to you. But I think you have his information. I think you talk back and forth with his office very, rarely, so, but just in case, I'll send that over.
All right. And the information that I was given was through SumHub.
Okay. And whatever information you have, Mr. DeMonico, can you forward it to all of council?
Sure.
Me and council, so we can
I'll do
open
that
it.
right now.
Okay, thank you, sir. We do want to have our information correct, and sometimes in this world of technology, that does not happen. So I don't know who's to blame on that. So moving right along, we're gonna do and go back to the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 2021, I'm sorry, 21-1210, fiscal year 2021 through 2022 appropriations and tax levies. And there's no discussion on this. Let's go to a motion, please.
Madam Mayor, I will motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 21-1210, which provides for the annual appropriations and tax levies for the city of Eastpointe for fiscal year 2021 to 2022, and schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration of adoption at the regular city council meeting on June 15th, 2021.
Council,
Support.
motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Next item is the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 21-1211. Amend the codified ordinances of the city of Eastpointe by replacing section 2-525 with the new section 2-525 entitled City Fee Schedule for Public Records and City Services and Programs. And our city manager, did you want to start this off, Ms. Doom?
I'm going to, hold on, I have to go to my other agenda. Well, it's my understanding through discussing with our attorney that although the council approved some of the ordinances, this will be considered a first reading. There's a little confusion whether this is a first or second, depending on the approval of the past. But we've got, and again, I apologize, I've been following through this monster of an agenda all night long. Now I've lost my place a little bit. But we do have, you have approved the building department and what else? Police and fire. But you need to now approve the additional changes for the public works and the clerk's office and city manager's office. And we really have very little, but I certainly can have the largest part, which is through the public works. And so we'll have Mr. Palucci speak to that, if you would, please.
Good evening, Mr. Palucci. You still there with us?
Yes, I am. Good evening again, Madam Mayor and Council. I have only two little changes, and the first one is on page 19 of 21. It's down towards the bottom, the construction water use. We have to make a correction on the agenda. The hydrant anywhere else within the city, the deposit of $2,000. That is an increase of $1,000 from the last fee schedule. And the reason I'd like to change that is because the price of that backflow preventer has gone up. And if it didn't get returned, it would cost us $2,000 to replace. If you have no questions there, I can move on to my one other change, which is on page 20 of 21. You'll see halfway down, no show for appointment. We changed that from $50 to $90, and that is simply to cover the cost of one man, one truck, and 1 hour time of sitting at a house where somebody did not show up for a scheduled appointment.
Okay, now going back to the first one, this is the hydrant meter and sign deposit right here, correct?
Yeah, we got rid of that. So if you go up one more from that where it says hydrant anywhere else
Okay.
within the city,
Okay, and it used to be 1,000.
used to be 1,000. We had to purchase one. It cost us $1,968 to purchase. So we had to bring that up to $2,000 for a deposit.
Okay, now who usually pays for this, that you have to go up?
So if anybody wants to use a hydrant in the city, a contractor, any contractor, we have them pull a deposit at City Hall of
Okay.
$2,000, and then when they return it, we give them the money back.
Okay, okay. Council, any questions on this?
No,
None?
Mayor,
Oh,
I don't.
sorry.
Sorry.
Yes,
Mayor.
ma'am, sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't have any questions, and I don't have any questions for the clerk or the city manager's office either, so it's a.
Okay, council, do you agree with Councilwoman that you want to continue, or you want to go over the city clerk's prices and things like that as well? No one is saying anything. Hello. I think I'm gonna go ahead and agree with Councilwoman Lucido, if you want to make a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 21-1211, which would amend the coded ordinances of the city of Eastpointe by replacing section 2-525 with a new section 2-525 entitled City Fee Schedule in Public Records and City Services and Programs.
Support.
Motion is supported. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Moving right along to introduction and first reading of ordinance number 21-1212, amend section 2-525 of the Code of Ordinances regarding fee schedules, fee schedule under police. Council. Discussion. If not, let's have a motion, please.
Motion to in first reading to ordinance number 21-1212, which would amend section 2-525 of the Code of Ordinances regarding fee schedules under police.
Support.
Motion and support, call the roll, please.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido, Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. We are now at our closed session. But usually we do the closed session after we do the hearing of the public, correct?
Madam
And we
Mayor,
ask people to come back if they want to. Yes, ma'am.
can I make a motion for payroll and bills?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor, I would like to motion to pay the bills in the amount of $3,128,040.06.
Support.
Motion and support, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next is hearing of the public. Those who have stayed with us, thank you so much for staying and listening. If you have a comment, question, opinion about what you heard tonight or moving forward, we will gladly take what you have to say in consideration. The second part of the hearing of the public is now open. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name, residency, or if you're a guest, let me know where you're guest at and what you have to say. Welcome to the second part of the hearing of the public. Ms. Walton.
Mr. Gary Sasek would like to speak first.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Sasek.
Good evening, Mayor Owens, Council. Gary Sasek, Eastpointe resident for 70 years.
Wow.
And I've got a few things that I'd like to talk about tonight. One of the first things is, obviously I'm 74 years old, and back when I first started voting, you had to be 21. So I've been voting for 53 years. And myself personally, the reason you have a primary election is so that you don't have 5 candidates running for one seat. And so that, I think that's very important, especially in regards to a mayor election or a council election. So I'm glad to see there's going to be some ballot language to allow the voters of the city to determine if we need to go back to primary elections for the mayor. I'm also opposed to ranked choice voting. I have not been in favor of it since day one, but I understand it's hard to take on the Department of Justice. But since the state of Michigan does not recognize ranked choice voting, and other communities have chosen to try and do it, but it's not recognized, I strongly hope that you will put language on a ballot so that the voters can also let you know how they feel about it. I don't feel we should be going back to the Department of Justice and saying, we are absolutely pleased with ranked choice voting and want to continue it. I don't think it's right. And I am a little concerned about the Memorial Day parade. Ever since my children were little, in soccer, in Girl Scouts and Brownies and Cub Scouts, they marched in the Memorial Day parades. So I support it. But I think the 300 to 500 number is a little bit low when you start lining people up along the parade route. So hopefully that's not going to be an issue. But on the same note, I am extremely sad that a group like the Cruise Committee that was saying, we have concerns, we understand the concerns of the community, and this is why we want to change the date to September so that we can have a better feeling, and nobody was willing to agree to that.
30
It's
seconds,
just
sir.
sad. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have anyone else?
Miss Mary Hall Rayford would like to speak next.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Good evening again, Mary Hall Rayford, resident and advocate. I had hoped not to have anything to say during the second hearing today, but for people not to understand the word contingent that are sitting on a city council is just beyond belief. That proposal could not have been clear by using the word contingent. And yet, because of your personal agendas, you ignore that and make a mockery of the entire thing. People, you need to get used to voting in favor of the residents and not your personal agendas. Most of us have enough sense to exercise safety protocols that are already put in place. And if no one else has been paying attention to not only are the numbers going up, but no other additional restrictions have been put in place. The hope is everyone will be vaccinated no later than June or July, and everyone should feel safer. I'll be wearing a mask until 2023, so that's not the issue. Like I said, most of us have enough sense to do what we need to do, but this is beyond ridiculous. It is time for the voters of Eastpointe to vote for new people. At least get a dictionary until then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Hey,
Mandy would like to speak next.
yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. I'm calling in regards to COVID. I understand it's very important, but not being able to have the Gratiot cruise, I'm very disappointed. If council drove by Big Daddy's on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, them parking lots are jam-packed. They're using the other parking lots on each side of the building. And I literally sat there and watched them go in without masks. I've been in that door and watched people inside that building and they don't have masks on. There's no social distancing. Who is the person responsible for that? Who should be going in there checking that business out? That's all I have to say for right now.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else would like to speak?
Sheila Ulinski would like to speak next.
Good evening, Ms. Ulinski.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I too just wanted to echo the Cruz and Gratiot sentiments. Everybody takes the safety to the highest level into consideration. It's a lot of work, as Harvey has said, that goes into it. And it's a time for us to finally breathe and have something fun to do. And I think we're missing the opportunity also to celebrate our fire department and all that they have done and to celebrate their 100 years and twine that with the Gratiot cruise that the citizens really do like. I think the residents are going to be disappointed. I understand your thinking and, we appreciate that you considered it, but seeing that it's not until September and, it could have been called off if the numbers were to rise. I just think we missed the boat on that. And that's all I have to say. And thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else has anything to say at this time?
Yes, Cindy Federline would like to speak next.
Hi,
Good
my
evening.
name is Cindy Federle. I'm a 40+ year resident of Eastpointe. And I want to echo what's already been said. Ranked choice voting is not good for us. I am opposed to it. I agree with Harvey completely. And I'm extremely disappointed that you are not going to support the cruise. I think we need to open up the state. People are vacationing. We need to be responsible when we're out, but I think you need to open it up for us. We can be safe when we're out there, and I think we will. Thanks for letting me speak.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for speaking. Thank you so much. Anyone else has anything to say at this time?
Checking one more time, Mayor. I don't see any additional hands raised, and there's nothing in the chat.
Okay. At this time, the hearing of the public is now closed. We are going to, because this is back and forth. We're going to, I guess people probably want to hear our mayor and council reports, and then we can go into closed session. Is that correct, Mr. Albright?
Yes, that's correct, Madam Mayor.
Okay, well, we're gonna go to our council report, starting with Councilman DeMonico.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Probably a few different things. First, I want to apologize to you, Elke, about my comments a few minutes ago. The email didn't go to you. It was just to Mr. Blum. So he has had the information to correct the 3.17 million figure, but I did not email you. So I'm sorry for getting mad at you there. I truly am sorry. Second, let's see. Oh, and as Ms. Dew mentioned earlier, we did finish up Citizen Planner, which was quite a few weeks long. And she mentioned a lot of the highlights, but we did get to meet with a lot of Macomb County Planning and Economic Development folks, and hoping we can take advantage for our 9 Mile project and do a lot of good things for that. Let's see. So the cruise, I guess I was just trying to understand what the like, how are we determining if it should go on or not? And I just did not understand that. And so approving an event with 50 to 100,000 people not being clear on how the COVID protocols are going to go, I think I just could not vote in favor of that. So that is why I voted how I voted. You know, I think the state's been doing all it can to make sure all of our residents are safe. And I mean, frankly, if everybody just did what they needed to do, we wouldn't need any of these rules from the state either to prevent people from, you know, passing COVID on. You know, we wouldn't need to close restaurants or things like that to prevent the spread if everybody did do it correctly, but we know that that's not going to happen, you know. So I think it's not an easy vote to me. I think, you know, I'm trying to do the right thing for all the residents here, and I'm up here to vote for all of the residents and not just some, and I'm just making sure I do the right thing for the community. And with that, I got the dose 1 of the vaccine today. So I am going to be fully vaccinated by the end of the month, I guess. So that was exciting. Fortunately, I feel fine after getting the vaccine, especially since we had a long meeting today. And sorry if I didn't respond to other folks from the hearing of the public. If I missed you, let me know, and I'll try to address any of your concerns. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Curley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one thing. Obviously, I'm extremely disappointed beyond words, and I will be calling the members of the board for the cruise and crash it and meet with them on Zoom and try to determine what our next step would be. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Moore.
Madam Mayor, I don't have much, but I would like to go to a lighter note and wish Mr. Albright a happy birthday tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
I know that they did a thing with a bunch of people birthdays in February. So my birthday is actually in in April also. So it's Saturday. And so I guess we share the same month. And for anyone else out there who has a birthday coming up in April, happy birthday. That's it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilwoman Lucido.
So yeah, I'll start out by wishing everyone who has a birthday in April, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think council pretty much gets covered with February and April. I mean, that pretty much covers everyone's birthdays. It's like we're all combined in 2 months. So I just want to thank all the residents for hanging in tonight. And I hope you guys do come out to our budget workshop meetings. It's probably some of the most important meetings that we have discussing the budget and how we're going to just, spend the tax dollars moving forward for the, next fiscal year. So I do encourage all the residents to participate in those meetings. But that's all I have this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I also want to say happy birthday to everybody's birthday, residents and staff. We have a couple staff members. We have, of course, Mr. Albright, and we have Ms. Holman. She's not going to tell us the date of April, but it's in April. And Mr. Gadsden's birthday as well. Anybody else that's celebrating a birthday, again, happy birthday. And happy birthday to my only nephew. His birthday came up, and my niece. So happy birthday from your aunt, your favorite aunt. Put that out there. And also to everyone that tuned in. It's never an easy job for me or council to make our decisions, and we don't make it based off our personal agenda, because what I do personally is personal, is what I choose to do. But when I oversee a community, it's my job to do what's best for that community. And that is what my decision making comes from. First, it comes from God, and then it comes from things that I see, and also opinions from other leaders to help me come up with my opinion and what residents have to say. So also, I had a resident also call in earlier tonight and say some bad things about, and try to, say bad things about the council. And what I want to do moving forward is, if you're going to call in, or if you're going to make a statement during the hearing of the public, show some respect. Show some respect, because not only are we elected officials, but we're human beings first. So if you're going to use your time to be disrespectful, I'm going to start asking you to, I'm going to have to shut it down and ask Ms. Walton to shut it down, because we don't insult our residents, we don't insult our staff, and we want the same respect. So moving forward, we are a family town and people are watching us, and I think we should start showing that. So we're going to go to closed session. Everybody have a good night. If you want to come back and say bye to us when we adjourn, that's up to you. But stay safe, and let's go. Can I get a motion to go into closed session, please?
Sure, Madam Mayor, I'll motion that we go into closed session. Let me get my motion for attorney-client privilege communication to discuss written legal opinion by our city attorney related to the public-private partnership agreement with Concierge Management Services LLC.
A second.
Thank you. Motion and support to go into closed session. Again, thank you all who stayed. If we see you back, thank you again. Can I get a roll call for that, please?
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido.
Yes.
We're going into closed session. Good night, everyone. And thank you for tuning in. Have a blessed one. Thank you, Ms. Walton.
You're welcome.
Yeah, like I was saying, moving forward, I won't take insult, so I'm gonna just ask you to probably cut them off. Moving forward. We have freedom of speech, but I won't allow council to be bullied or talk to any kind of way. Derogatory, because we don't do it.
Understandable.
You want to start this, Mayor?
Oh, thank you, sir. You want to start it? 'Cause I know you bring it up, sir. Did you want to?
No,
6 minutes, Sarah.
I know.
Okay, we're on a closed session.
All right, we are back on.
We are back in open session. Thank you for the 3 people that stayed. You are dedicated residents, I see. We are going to get we have a motion for the closed session. Council, did you want to make that motion?
Sure, Madam Mayor, I can make that motion. A motion, we follow the recommendation of our legal counsel regarding the public-private partnership with Concierge Management Services LLC.
Support.
Motion and support, please call that roll, please.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Support.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, meeting adjourned. Guys, have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
You as well, everybody. Thank you.
11 o'clock.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Have a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Another hour. Good night, everybody.
Good night.